Okay, joining us today in the hijacked golf studio is David Case. David, you've started an initiative called 1,000 Ks of Caring. Tell us more about it.
Thanks, Sean. So 1,000 Ks of Caring is a charity run, 1,000 kilometers, hence 1,000 Ks, in 21 days. We are going to be running the width of the Western Cape. 21 consecutive days. Every runner runs the whole way themselves. There's no relay, nothing like that. And the aim is to raise funds and awareness for Siphila Sonke, which is a charity, multifaceted charity based in Grabouw. And on day 21, we actually finish on the doorstep of Siphila Sonke after having crossed pretty much the whole Western Cape.
How did you and that charity connect?
Okay, so I am the financial director of the charity. I'm a chartered accountant by training, and they had a need for a financial director. I put my hand up to obviously fulfill that role, but then being intimate with their numbers, I understand how difficult it is for a charity actually to survive in the current economic conditions of South Africa.
How much money do they need, and how much of that do you think you'll be able to raise with your charity run?
Yeah, so we've got a target of 350,000. We started off with a target of $250,000, and we got quite significant pledges up front, which meant that we could feel confident that we could go a bit more in our target of 350. That is typically the amount that a charity should be getting from Lotto on an annual basis. But Siphila Sonke hasn't received Lotto grants in a while, so literally we are running to try fund that shortfall that the support from the government hasn't been forthcoming with.
So you've chosen running as your means of raising money for this charity. You're not built like a runner.
It's a long range fuel tank.
How did you come up with the concept?
Okay, so back in 2019, we ran 500 Ks for kids. That was 500 kilometers in 10 days. We ran from Kimberley to Joburg, and there we were raising money for Childline Joburg in particular. So I've had this affinity of running multi-day, long-distance multi-day, to be able to just raise awareness and raise funds. My body's not built like a runner, but it does mean that I have quite good stamina. So I can get out on the road again day after day because I'm not going quick.
Yeah. So what's your average distance you're going to have to run?
So we average 48 Ks, but generally the route somehow just fell into play. That the first week we got some very long days. But fortunately, the first week, the long days are mainly downhill.
What's your longest day?
We got 2 days over 61 Ks. Day 6 is a bit of a concern. It's 61 K day, 2 mountain passes between Willamore and Uniondale. But for the most part, we have selected back roads. We start in a place called Driekoppie, which is the place where the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and Northern Cape meet. For those that are looking at a map, it's between Maritzburg and New Bethesda, Graaff-Reinet and Beaufort West if you want bigger towns. So we start in the Snowberg Mountains at 1,800 meters in altitude. And our first 8 days are long days, but we finish day 8 in Knysna. So we're running dead south down to Knysna. We are actually, for the most part, taking a lot of the back roads. In fact, in our first 5 days, we only go through one town, which is Maritzburg. So, which will be interesting in accommodation, but from a running perspective, will obviously be a lot safer. We're not necessarily dealing with traffic. We also do have probably deal with the odd cow or something like that. From Knysna, we then head across the Garden Route to George. We've got 2 day stint doing that. We then go up the Montague Pass into the Klein Karoo, bugger around in the Klein Karoo for a couple of days, out the Klein Karoo on the Rooiberg Pass towards Van Wyksdorp, Riversdal, and then we literally run in the Overberg. We run in west straight back to Grabouw, running through towns like Swellendam and Greyton. So we will see pretty much all there is to see in the Western Cape, and no disrespect to the towns we're not getting through, but there will be enough experiences for a lifetime, I think, coming out of it, and the runners themselves will grow as much as the beneficiaries of the charity.
So how did you wreck it? How did you come up with this route?
So with a Western Cape-based charity, I felt it needed an identity. And the identity that I kind of selected was a Western Cape theme. Now, to fit 1,000 Ks, we looked around, and one of the things we stumbled across is a cross-Cape cycle route. So there's a cycle route from Plet to Stellenbosch or vice versa. And we felt that if the cyclist could do it, and it's a gravel route, if the cyclist can do it, if it's safe enough to cycle, it's safe enough to run. So we then had to see where can we start that tells a story that will get us to Neisden onto that Cross Cape cycle route. And the logical place was to start as far away in the Western Cape as possible from Grabouw. And Driehoek is the furthest place from Grabouw in the Western Cape.
So have you been on the entire route to Recce or not?
No.
Okay.
So we've recently ran Neisden Marathon, so we recce'd the last stint, well, from day 8. So day 8 to day 21 we have recce'd. But the starting days we haven't recce'd, but we are in communication with the farmers there to know what's what. And
Will you be going over a lot of private land?
No. Okay. So just the first start, the first few Ks are probably on private land. Driehoek itself is on a farm.
Okay.
Once we hit the roads, we are on national roads, but not not the ones that start with an N or an R. The ones that have like a K or a D or something like that. We're on those gravel roads for the most part. So it will be a combination of road tackies and trail shoes, and making a decision each time just based on what we feel in the terrain is going to be like.
You said the first 5 stages you don't go through a town. What's your accommodation overnight going to look like for those 5 days?
So we have booked accommodation for the first 3 nights. Day 0, night 0 as such before we start, and the next 2 nights in Maritzburg. I didn't actually want to book accommodation too far in advance because I want to be able to allow the locals, the communities, to get involved in the run.
Basically looking for free accommodation.
Well, potentially.
So if anyone's out there that's near to where Dave's running, he needs a bed for the night.
Well, we need a few beds. But I think the main thing is when we ran the 500 Ks 5 years ago, it's nice that the communities can get involved. And often it's my sister's got a guest house in the next town where you're going with the journey, and everyone's actually getting involved in the whole run, which I don't just want to be a passing visitor passing through other people's areas. I want them to have some kind of ownership and some kind of passion about it, I suppose.
Well, you keep referring to we, and those who know the Case family know that you're not the talented runner in the family, not by a long shot. You're doing this with Sandra as well.
Yeah, so there's actually 3 of us running. Sandra, my wife, is running. She is the quicker runner, as you so rudely alluded to. Emmanuel from Pirates Running Club, based up in Joburg, he's also running with us. Emmanuel, unfortunately, recently lost his job, so he's got time to run with us. He is quicker than Sandra even. So I think when I get to each spot where they're waiting, I think I might have some impatient looks and some foot tapping and that kind of stuff. But I've also engaged with the local running clubs of the towns that we're running through. We do have the intention that people come out and join us on the day, join us for part of the route. We've got kids from the local schools coming to participate. So it's really something that a familiar face or a fresh face just adds new energy into the run, because we are going to be tired, we are going to be sore, and we're probably going to be pretty hurtful with each other. So just new people to talk to and explain what we're doing, that just gives us a buzz as we go. So we try and encourage everyone to come run with us, even if it's just for a single K.
So can a person sign up to just come and run a portion of the route with you?
We do have runners already that are committed to various parts. Funnily enough, the garden route seems to be very popular. And we've also had some interest in Rooiberg Pass, which that's day 14, and I think that will probably be the most spectacular day. I've driven a Rooiberg Pass, and it's high up in the mountains, and you just look down on other mountain ranges. It's one of those places where you feel like you're on top of the world.
What's the training week look like for you at the moment?
So with the weather in South Africa at the moment, it almost feels like we're tapering, but all of us had done Comrades this year. Sandra and myself went and ran Neisden Marathon 2 weeks later after Comrades. So we do a lot of long distance on tired legs. But at the moment, the intention is not to arrive too fit. You arrive too fit, we need to be fit enough, but we arrive too fit, we're going to push too hard in the first couple of days. And then we are running serious injury on even minor things like chafe and blisters. But, we're going to have the set. We're going to have the full set of injuries. We're going to have some muscular injuries. We're definitely going to have chafe, definitely blisters, and we're going to have sunburn. So if anyone sees people that are looking really red in the face, it's probably us.
Yeah, people on the road who shouldn't be running who look red. That's Dave on a normal day.
Yeah. So I'm not the most elegant runner by any stretch of the imagination.
Listen, you're obviously not pushing for time on each day.
No.
It's just about finishing what you've allocated for yourself for that day.
That's 100% correct. So we would run it. We would treat it like a work day, like a day in the office. So if the average person, if we work in 8 hours a day, we're going to be running potentially for 8 hours a day. We're not running like you would imagine running a race where you start the gun. Well, the gun goes, you start, you finish when you cross the line. We'll probably go do 10 Ks before breakfast, have something to eat, go do another 15 Ks, have our second breakfast because we will be hungry, and just break up the day in that respect. It also means that at stages our support crew can go off and do other things. You know, if we take in just a 10K stretch, we can easily just carry enough water to cover that 10K stretch. We don't have to worry about seeing a support crew every 3Ks or every 4Ks, because ultimately the more times they stopped on the side of the road, the greater risk it is to us.
Okay, so yourself, Sandra, and Emmanuel are running. You got other runners joining you in and out of your route. Who's your support staff, and how's that structure situated?
So we've got 3 support staff that are doing the full thing. Brenda Solbauer is the chair lady of Siphila Sonke, and she's coming along for the ride. She's appointed herself as our chef. And then we've got John and Rona Miller, who are our husband and wife team, POMs. So hopefully there's some sport that we can discuss whilst we're on the go. They're very much up for excitement. In fact, at the moment, and I might get it wrong, but I think they're overseas at the moment, cycling around on a tandem around Europe. So we've got a very adventurous team, and they're hopefully going to be providing everything that we can't when we're on the road. So they're all in their 60s, but their social media skills will get very improved very quickly, I think, because of the amount of content that we'll be creating.
Where can guys hook up with you on social media?
So we are on Facebook and Instagram. I think the best place to start is our website, www.1000Ks of Caring. The 1,000 is the numerical numbers, so 1000 Ks of Caring. K is spelled Kays, just to complicate things. Our website has all the social media links, but it's also got details of the runners, details of the support crew. It's got detailed maps. It's got the whole journey plotted in one map. It's got weeks plotted, and it's got the individual days plotted with elevation, with where we will be. We will have live tracking on our website through our Garmin watches, but people would obviously be able to follow our journey through social media.
Cool. We'll post that link in the description. How do people get involved?
So I mean, there's multiple ways of getting involved. Obviously, we are very cognizant that times are tough. Interest rates are high. Inflation is probably higher than
beer prices are up.
Beer prices are up. Syntax is always up. People don't necessarily have disposable income to donate, and I think the big thing is that whilst we need money, it's not the only thing we need. We need awareness, and if people can just take an interest, follow us on social media, really delve into what we're running and why we're running, have a look at the charity, and they might have a friend of a friend who suddenly has had one person that unlocks everything for Siphila Sonke. So Siphila Sonke, as a charity, I said earlier on, they're multifaceted. They were started just over 20 years ago by a lady by the name of Bev Morgan. She was a nursing instructor for St. John's Ambulance, and she noticed that when people were coming to get their chronic medication, they would often throw it up. And they'd throw it up, kotse in the old parlance, because of empty stomachs. So it started with a soup kitchen kind of vibe. Then it went to food parcels. So once a month, Siphila Sonke distribute up to 60 food parcels to chronically ill individuals who are unemployed.
Is that basically where your money is going to go, is for that?
Is for the food parcel. Yeah. I'll explain the rest of the charity, but certain elements of charities are easy to raise funds for, and certain other elements are very difficult. But the food parcels cost Siphila Sonke about 500 a food parcel. There's 60 of them going out a month. So that's 30,000 Rand a month, 360,000 a year. And that's very difficult for us to fund. And on our website, on our social media, we often post about the food parcels because, ultimately the unlock of value, if we came across someone that is high up in Tiger Brands or someone that's high up in Pioneer Foods, and they said, we will sponsor the maize meal in those food parcels for a year. Things like that will bring down the cost for Siphila Sonke. So, we're not only looking for funds. Awareness is obviously the key. But Siphila Sonke then, in about 2007, moved into a building in the middle of informal location. And from there, they've created a after-school education system using 2 online tools, Cami and School in a Box. And there's up to 130 kids that come to Siphila Sonke every afternoon in what we call, was historically Kids Club. Now it's Educare because of the need that probably gets more attention. But those kids, their teachers explain that the kids that go to Siphila Sonke after school are the top of the class. The kids that show great promise and potential and most importantly desire, Siphila Sonke sends them on a bursary. And they send them to, generally, if possible, to schools outside of Grabouw into boarding environments. And that's just to get them out the informal settlements where they are
More structured.
but there's a lot of distraction in an informal settlement. And anyone that's been through any informal settlement or township in South Africa will know that there's risks that the youth face. So we're trying to take them away from that. And then on the food parcel beneficiaries, Siphila Sonke does help them register with SASSA. So once they're on SASSA, they've got a form of income. Siphila Sonke doesn't provide them food parcels anymore, but there's always a need. There's always new people rotating in as such. At the moment, most of the beneficiaries are MDR TB, so multi-drug resistant TB, which, if you live in an informal settlement without real shelter from wind and rain, and Grabouw is very wet, and you're coughing away, it can't be a nice life. So we are specifically looking at the food parcels as our main aim. Siphila Sonke generally receives adequate funding for the kids club, but not for the chronically ill.
How do people donate to you? Is it sponsorship per kilometre, or can they just do a bulk donation? Or
So we do have a donation portal open already, and we have received just short of 70,000 Rand before we've hit the road. We hit the road on the 10th of August. But we've also received pledges. And we currently at 130,000 Rands worth of pledges. Means we've got to finish the 1,000 kilometres. Otherwise, we don't get the money in that we thought we were going to get in. So kind of that is the motivation to keep going. But once again, donation links are through the website, and there's also contact links. So people can contact us through the website or contact us through social media. And they can get, we're not very prescriptive. People can get involved in however they think they've got a skill set or something that they could add value. It's something that we're doing for a broader community, I think, is the main thing.
any sponsors that have climbed on board already that you'd like to give a little shout out to?
Well, we got our website done. Well, let me start actually one step back. The biggest stumbling block we had at the beginning was brand identity, corporate identity. And we were struggling with just how do we present this charity that people can, fundraising run actually. The charity is pretty easy, but how do we create this fundraising run that's got its own identity? And Morena Ferguson, graphic designer, designed us this fantastic logo for free. And if you look at the 1,000 Ks of Caring logo, it is colourful, it is fun, it stands out. And from there we could go through the whole corporate identity. 444, an IT business, built our website, so they came on board with that. I've been doing social media, which has been a journey. But I was just saying to you now, Jack Black have come on and said that we're going to get quite a bit of beer. So we will be thirsty. We're not coffee runners. We will be thirsty, and so we got Jack Black already on board to give us thirst-quenching refreshments after each day.
As long as you don't end up drinking a certain milkshake at the end of every run,
No,
then you should be okay.
So I'm very much, if you had to ask me, I think I'm allergic to dairy. I'm not allergic to yeast.
Well, Dave, wish you and Sandra and Emmanuel all the best on your run, and hopefully you hit your targets and the kids can benefit from it.
Yeah, perfect. Well, it's obviously the chronically ill, but everyone in the charity.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is just a journey. It's an adventure. And, ultimately, everyone hopefully can do a part somewhere. And this is what we can do. We can run slowly.
You definitely will run slowly.
Don't want to surprise anyone.